5 Sports.
All right, we are now joined by one of the most dynamic players in college football. Kansas State running back Deuce Vaughn joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. He is one of 5 finalists for the annual Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award. They'll honor that and have the banquet tonight. And Tyler and Deuce Vaughn joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Deuce, thanks for your time. What does it mean to you to be a part of this list, of this award?
Man, it's big time to see my name next to Earl Campbell and then the guys that are also up for this award tonight, big time football players in the college football award that we're in right now. For my name to be displayed right there, it's unbelievable. It's unreal.
Deuce, I know a lot is made of your size. 5'6", 172. You're not a big guy, but you play big. You don't play like you're 5'6", 172. What is it with Kansas State and guys your size and how they flourish in Manhattan at running back?
Man, of course, whenever you hear 5'6", running back, you think of Darren Sproles and what he's done here at Kansas State, and then on to his time in the NFL, 15 years that he played there. Man, I couldn't really put it into words exactly how it works, but he's somebody that I looked up to. He's the blueprint. In all in all, he's the blueprint to come to his alma mater and play the way that I've played. Now got to talk to him, got to get tips and gain advice from him, what he did throughout his time in college and into the NFL. And it's been really, really cool to be able to be on this path and kind of almost replicate what he's been able to do.
Deuce, you guys got the win over LSU in the bowl game to finish off 8-5. You had a big game with 3 touchdowns and nearly 150 yards, but your quarterback, Skylar Thompson, also had a massive day. Just how big was that for the program to get that win, finish this season on a high note, but also how big was it to see Skylar Thompson, who's been through so much, be able to go out on a note like that?
It was big in both of us. Starting with Skylar, he's our quarterback. He's somebody that has been a leader, a mentor to myself ever since I got into Kansas State. He's been a mentor and a leader for everybody in this program. And to send him out on that type of note, a big-time win against a big-time program on national television was really, really big for his legacy. He deserves every single bit of that. And then for the program, it's just like a momentum shift. Going into the offseason with a big-time win, like I said, against a big-time opponent, it gives us hope to a great off-season, getting ready for this 2022 season, which starts in about a week. Whenever classes start, you get into the off-season phase. To have this win, it really, really propels us forward into the off-season.
Deuce, you scored 22 touchdowns this year. That is more than one a game. In your life, when you don't score a touchdown, do you feel like you've had a bad game?
No. And usually I don't judge bad and good games off of exactly how many touchdowns I score, how many yards I have. I really try and base off the impact of how I end up the game, whether or not we won or lost. It's kind of crazy. Of course, you look at, man, he had 4 touchdowns. Well, if I don't feel like I did enough to help my team succeed, it'll be a bad game in my regard. And it's one of those things that everybody looks at me crazy whenever I say that, but I don't know. I must be just wired a little bit different.
So, Deuce, the award goes to, for those that don't know, the best player in college football, Division I level from the state of Texas. And you obviously are from the state of Texas, and that's why you're up for the award despite playing at Kansas State. But Earl was big on that, on representing the state. What does it mean to you to represent Round Rock and represent the Lone Star State abroad? And just what does Texas and football mean to you?
It means a whole bunch. There are a lot of people behind me. My support system from Round Rock, from the Austin area, everybody that's poured into me throughout these years, and even now into college, even though I've left the state, they continue to pour into me. And this is kind of like a testament, like a give back, a thank you for all that their hard work, their time, and everything that they poured into me, trying to say, hey, I think y'all got me to this point. I couldn't have done this alone. It's one of those things where it's like a really big thank you to all the people that have helped me throughout the way.
Paul brought up the touchdowns and all the touchdowns you scored, but your rushing yards this year jumped dramatically, and you got almost twice as many carries. But to be a running back, sometimes people realize it's not just, boom, there's a wide open hole, you go 50. You earned a lot of those yardage. How much better are you, and how are you better as a running back now?
I'd say just for the mere fact that I added some weight going from this off season to this season from my freshman year, been able to take on some bigger impacts and gain some extra yards after contact. And then of course I'm always gonna have to bring up my O-line. Those guys the work that they put in throughout the offseason, they've gelled together, and the way they played this season has helped me a whole bunch. And then, of course, my coaching staff. And I've gotten into the film room with them and been able to say, hey, what can I look for, especially in a defense, weaknesses or strengths? What can I take advantage of going into this game this week? They've helped me a whole bunch in that regard, and put all that together, and man, you get something special.
How much do you feel like the rest of the conference, once the news about Texas and Oklahoma came down in late July, and all of a sudden there was like this uncertainty in the Big 12, but the Big 12 bounced back, and everybody that was a part of it, really all of them had a really pretty good year. What was that like? Did that play in any way, shape, or form motivation for the last season?
I wouldn't say so. As far as Kansas State, just being inside that program and being inside that building, there was no external motivators as far as going into this upcoming season. I guess you could say this season that just passed. There was no external motivators with that. It was one of those things where we knew coming into this season we're going to play against OU, we're going to play against Texas, we're going to play against TCU, we're going to play against Baylor. We're playing against all those guys in the Big 12. And I guess you could say that the future of the Big 12 wasn't really something that we were really thinking about because of this upcoming season that we had in front of us. We knew that the work that we had put into the offseason, the summer, and fall camp was all going to have to come into fruition whenever we started playing this past fall, and that's exactly what we focused on.
Obviously, you, Coach Snyder, cast a long shadow there, but I cannot imagine a better fit for that program than Coach Kleinman. What's it like being with him day in and day out, and how he and the staff run that program?
It's big time. He's a player's coach. He tells us that every single day, and he's shown it to us. Whenever I came up for a visit 2 years ago, which is crazy to think about 2 years now, for my visit, man, he said that we're going to build a culture, a winning culture here. We're going to build he went to a great man. He's done that every single day. He's here with me tonight, and that just kind of shows the type of man, the type of coach that he is. And, man, I couldn't be more thankful for that happening in my life.
So, Deuce, we cover Baylor on a regular basis, but talk all Big 12. And I was just curious, they obviously went off and had a great year, Big 12 champs and Sugar Bowl. You guys fell, in that game earlier this year in Manhattan. But just what were your thoughts, a first-row point of view of playing that Baylor defense and just what you saw from them up close and personal?
Oh, man, they got a great defense. Jalen Petrie, as you can see from all of his awards, he's a great football player, really smart, fast, physical, and that really explains their entire defense from the first level, the second level, the third level. I mean, they're fast, they're gritty, they run solid, they're solid, athletic, and those guys play for each other. That's one thing that I noticed whenever we played against them. They play for each other every play.
You mentioned, and we'll wrap it up with this, and thanks for your time, Deuce Vaughn with us, Kansas State running back. You mentioned what it was like to be honored to be a part of the finalist for the award that has Earl Campbell's name on it, plus it represents Texas. What would it mean to win it if, in fact, you were fortunate enough tonight to have your name called?
It'd be unreal. It'd be humbling, and it'd be great in the regard that, man, it'd be a big time thank you to everybody that supported me. Like I said earlier, all the hands that have been, I guess you could say, poured in on my journey through K-State, through high school, and to where I am now. It'd be a big thank you to all those guys, all those people that are in my corner. And man, it'd be crazy. Something I dreamed about whenever I was younger.
You got a bunch of people there representing with you tonight, don't you? You have a big, large contingent?
Yes, sir.
I bet they're excited.
Yes,
yeah, that's family. Good for you, buddy. Thanks, Deuce. Thanks for your time. Good luck tonight.
No doubt. Thank you so much. Y'all have a nice night.
You too. That's Deuce Vaughn, sophomore, now junior running back at Kansas State. Exploded on the scene, what was it, a year or two ago in that win against Oklahoma when he was so hard to handle. Went from 642 yards rushing to 1,404, 18 touchdowns on the ground, 4. He's a great receiver, too. Slippery as he could possibly be. And the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award banquet tonight being held, and they'll announce the winner at about, 7:30 or 8 o'clock.
Yeah, he's a great player, really good player, fun to watch, and at times he's the only offense K-State's had. I mean, they've done everything through him, around him, whatever, and with Skylar Thompson when they were together, that was a much different looking football team than when they basically had to rely on Deuce alone when Thompson was injured. But yeah, I mean they've got him coming back next year, and obviously they're representing well tonight. So hope they all have fun. I know it's a really well run event, and he's got some stiff competition. I mean those other 4 finalists are all very good in their own right, but Deuce very worthy of being a finalist. Definitely one of the 5 best players offensively to come out of the state this year in terms of numbers and all of that. But it was a good group overall, and tough to kind of narrow it down to 5. But yeah, he's very worthy, and I love watching him. He seems like a great young man as well, and I never hear a bad word about him or even close to that. So what a great rep, and hope they, like I said, have fun tonight.
The finalists include Deuce Vaughn of Kansas State, running back Abram Smith from Baylor, Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver, Ohio State, who went to Lake Travis.
And that one was, I think that people had a tough time with that because Jackson Smith-Njigba from Rockwall was also on that Ohio State team. And then, he obviously, the votes came in before the bowl game. So, if Jackson Smith-Njigba had gotten the votes after, he might have been there instead of Garrett Wilson. But, I mean, yeah, that's a good problem to have. Who's better, Jackson Smith-Njigba or Garrett Wilson? But yeah, Garrett Wilson got the nod.
And Bailey Zappi, who we had on, the quarterback at Western Kentucky. We also, one of the other finalists as well. Oh, my God. Abram Smith, Deuce Vaughn, Bailey Zappi. Oh,
Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson, I mentioned him. And there's a 5th finalist as well that's a part of it.
I'm blanking.
Yeah, I just went completely blank. And all 5, and I'm telling you, because I'm a voter, Craig puts together the weekly nominations. Cindy runs the event completely from start to finish. And you got down to where sometimes there's been, okay, these are absolutely, may not even want more than 3 or 4. This year they could have gone 5, 6, 7 deep into the finalist, but those are the 5.
Yeah, Sincere
McCormack, who we've had on the show from UT San Antonio. Kind of like that story kind of just faded, even though they had a great run until the end of the year when they lost that game to the North Texas and then lost their bowl game as well. And he broke records at UT San Antonio.
Yeah, I'm good with the group, and I had a little 2 cents on when the final group was being put together. There was actually a push for Bijan Robinson. And I was not okay with that because I felt like Deuce Vaughn had a bigger year. If you're just going to compare the running backs alone, or Sincere McCormick as far as the impact. But yeah, Bijan will be a front runner for it, I would imagine, next year. I think the injury and just Texas season as a whole limited him being, I think, a top 5 finalist. And it's not an award that's who's going to be the best NFL player. It's actual numbers matter and all that. So he was a kind of a fringe guy for some, and Jackson Smith-Njigba, as I mentioned, and there were plenty of others that were up for that final group.
Jarrett Stearns,
Jarrett Stearns at Western Kentucky was another one. I mean, there was a bunch of guys that could have been up for it, but yeah, the
Kennedy
5
Brooks.
Yeah, I mean, he was in that semifinalist group. I didn't think that he had a top 5 year. I mean, I wouldn't have taken him over Abram Smith.
No,
I wouldn't have taken him over Sincere McCormick. I think you get down to Bijan versus Kennedy Brooks, and you probably go Bijan, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so, if Bijan's not in the final 5, then Kennedy Brooks doesn't deserve to be in the final 5. And, there were a lot of others, but it's a good group, and excited to see who wins tonight, and just thank Deuce for giving us some time there.
All right, when we come back, John Machota, Cowboys get ready for the 49ers on Sunday afternoon. He's next on Sick'em